Hey net battlers, thanks for coming by for another roundup of news in gaming and tech culture. For this video, it's going to be a little different. I'm going to start off with one piece of news and then I'm going to get into my personal thoughts and feelings on the state of the gaming industry as it is today and what I fear for the future. If you just want to hear the gaming news, that's what I'm going to start off with. If you want my thoughts on how gaming is going in the future or how I feel about it today, you can skip ahead to that. I hope you listen to the whole video. If you do, like, comment, subscribe, share, all that fun stuff down below. Get the video out, get my channel out. I really appreciate it. And with that, let's get started. First article on the list, and this is from Gematsu. Star Ocean: The Last Hope 4K and Full HD Remaster launches November 28th in the Americas and Europe. Quote, Star Ocean: The Last Hope 4K and Full HD Remaster will launch for the PlayStation 4 via the PlayStation Store and PC via Steam in the Americas and Europe day and date, with its Japanese release on November 28th for $20.99, Square Enix has announced. PlayStation Plus members and Steam users who purchase the game before December 12th will receive a 10% discount off the $20.99 price point. Additionally, Steam users will receive an exclusive downloadable mini soundtrack featuring music from the game. PlayStation 4 users will receive an exclusive PlayStation 4 theme and 12 PlayStation Network avatars. Now that's got to be pretty exciting for a lot of Star Ocean fans. I've never played it personally, but my wife always raves about Star Ocean and how much she loved it when she was younger. Maybe I'll be able to get this one on PS4, maybe not, who knows. I'll ask my wife, see what she thinks about it. She might want to play it for sure. Although I believe she says Star Ocean 2 is the only good one, so we'll see how she feels about it. But nonetheless, it's coming out, and it's coming out to the Americas. I'm sure a lot of people were not expecting it to have a simultaneous release for the Americas and Europe along with the Japanese release. So comment down below and tell me if you're excited for this game or not, if you even heard about this game coming. I know I didn't. Actually, maybe I did. Who knows? Either way, let me know down below what your thoughts on it. Now, to get to my thoughts on the gaming industry. This is, I don't know, this might sound kind of rantish. It's not my intention, but we'll see how this goes. We'll start things off with EA shutting down Visceral Games, the developer behind awesome games such as Dead Space and Battlefield Hardline. They were also in charge of making a single-player Star Wars game that was being headed by the director of Uncharted 2, Amy Hennig, because of her awesome history with the Uncharted series. Now, I was pretty excited for this game coming out, especially after hearing that Amy Hennig was coming on board to help develop the game. And sadly, as with EA's track record with studios, they shut down Visceral after earlier this year shutting down a section of BioWare. It almost seems like whatever studios gets with EA at this point is just going to get shut down, but that's besides the point. The game was going to be focused on a single player aspect and very story based with a linear adventure, and for some reason that just didn't seem to line up with what EA had envisioned for the game, which my guess would be microtransactions, loot boxes, and that just sucks. I mean, I could be wrong. It could not be microtransactions and loot boxes, but from EA's history so far, I believe that had to be it. Visceral was just not implementing them in a way that EA wanted, and hopefully not as a punishment, but as I believe it to be, as a punishment, shut them down. Now this just sucks, especially with Visceral's history with Dead Space. I mean, Dead Space was incredible. Dead Space 2, first horror game to give me nightmares, and Dead Space 3 was, it was pretty good, but definitely wasn't on Dead Space 2's level. And Battlefield Hardline, I don't believe was met with very high praise or very great reception, but it wasn't a bad game. So now for EA to shut down Visceral while they're working on this single player linear story based Star Wars game, it just sucks, and it makes me even more upset about how EA was able to get exclusive rights to Star Wars games. I knew from the start it was going to be a bad idea, and it's just proving out to be more and more so as time goes on with their 10-year exclusivity deal. I mean, it's been a few years now and all they've given us is Battlefront, and it didn't have single player story, and it just wasn't even on the same aspect or level as previous Battlefront games, especially Battlefront 2. I mean, even Battlefront 2 with its rush development had a storyline, space to ground combat. It was insane. And you're telling me that Battlefront couldn't get that in their first game? And now the second one's coming out and it's almost pay to win. I mean, it's how they explained it, not being quite pay to win. To me, it's pretty pay to win. But to have these heavy microtransactions is just disgusting. I can't believe what EA has been doing to the Star Wars property. 2 games, and the second one has heavy microtransactions in it. And now they're shutting down this single player story based game for something like a shared world shooter or shared world game like Destiny. They want a Destiny. And that just sucks, especially with how Destiny has come to be with their microtransactions and shaders and such. And so that leads me to wonder, where are video games going in this day and age? Now it's just microtransactions, loot boxes, pay to win, almost pay to win, shutting down games that don't really have these services or long-term services such as Destiny. Well, I didn't mean that as in Destiny being shut down, but I mean everybody wants to make their own kind of Destiny now, and it sucks. Especially after seeing this new video from Spawnwave today about this new thing that Activision is doing. As he put it, Activision filed a patent so you can help them sell microtransactions. And it's not being implemented in games yet, and that's the key word, yet, as he put it. And I'd be surprised as well, as he said, if it doesn't eventually come to the games sooner rather than later. And as he put it, Activision wants to make it so that when players play other players online, they want to match lower level players with higher level players that bought a loot crate and got a special powerful weapon such as a sniper rifle, and they want you as a lower level player to get just annihilated by this player that paid for the loot box for a better weapon, as to make you be like, maybe I should go buy a loot box and try to get this weapon. So then you give them money, hope to get the weapon, maybe in 1 or 2 loot boxes. And when you get it, they'll make you play against lower level people so you can do the same thing to them as was just done to you. So that hopefully then that person that you're annihilating will buy another loot box and hope to get that weapon, and the cycle is going to continue. And it's just dirty. I can't stand the way gaming has been going nowadays. I mean, what happened to the old days when games were complete? There were no DLC. Games such as KOTOR, KOTOR 2, Final Fantasy, the old Final Fantasies, like Final Fantasy X, just to name some RPGs off the top of my head, or old Call of Duty games. Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare. I don't remember if those got DLC, they probably did, so that's probably a bad choice to use. But you get what I mean. Older games used to be just complete. I mean, it seems like nowadays the only games that are coming mostly complete are Nintendo games. And they're even starting to make their way into DLC. I'll bet they're not as bad DLC as what's coming out nowadays. I mean, if we even just look at past games like Fallout 3, Fallout New Vegas, and the more recent Fallout 4, the DLC to me seems to have gotten worse and worse. Whereas in Fallout 3, there was some incredible DLC in that game, like Mothership Zeta, Point Lookout, Operation Anchorage, The Pit. Those were some incredible DLCs. Mothership Zeta, you're going into space, you're abducted by aliens, you're taken into space, and you have to fight your way through to get back to Earth. Point Lookout, it's like a creepy area where you're trying to uncover what's going on there. And then you have The Pit, which you're pretty much made a slave, you're trying to break out of there. Operation Anchorage, like, these DLCs were awesome. They felt full. It felt like an awesome new part of the story being added. Same with New Vegas, although I feel like New Vegas's DLC was a little weaker, but they were still like full-on stories. And then you get Fallout 4, where you get Automatron, you get to build robots, you get the Wasteland Workshop, you get Far Harbor, which is actually pretty awesome. And then you get Contraptions Workshop, Vault Tech Workshop, and then you get Nuka World, which isn't bad either, but it's not. These DLCs are just not on the same level as Fallout 3 or Fallout New Vegas. At least to me. I mean, you're paying it for a season pass and Fallout 4 for that. Words can't even describe how how low DLC has fallen. I mean, even with some examples such as Mass Effect, with Mass Effect 2, every one of those DLCs was just incredible, especially LAIR the Shadow Broker. That had to be the best kind of DLC that's ever come out. And then we get to Mass Effect 3, and then we start seeing some not so great DLC. I mean, they were all pretty great in their own rights, except when they start putting on this DLC that's locked behind a paywall. That's when the business practices started going down, and I believe that's when EA started making the DLC worse than it used to be. It was almost like a throwback to Horse Armor and The Elder Scrolls Oblivion, and everything just started with DLC, and I just knew from that point things were going to start going downhill. People like to say that gaming development is getting more expensive, which I understand that it is. I understand gaming development is getting more expensive nowadays and that the price of games has relatively stayed the same, but they actually haven't. Games have gone up in prices, whether you actually realize it or not. And from my point of view, game prices have gone up from DLC and season passes. Games used to be $60. Now, you can get them with season passes, making games range from prices of, say, $70 to $120 now. Game prices have gone up. Don't let anybody tell you otherwise. They have gone up. And it feels like the quality of the DLC has gone way down. And that's just with DLC. And for the longest time, it seemed like Nintendo wasn't really doing the DLC. Now they're doing it, but their DLC isn't actually that bad. And they're actually cheaper than what typical DLC season passes, whatever, are coming out from developers and publishers these days. And now we start getting into the space of loot boxes, pay-to-win models, microtransactions inside of these $60 games, and then you get them with season passes, which puts them up to like $100 games. And now they're putting in these microtransactions and loot boxes. It's just, gaming has become so toxic and disgusting nowadays. It's just, I don't even recognize gaming anymore. Gaming is definitely not what it used to be. I hated it when DLC started. I started to become okay with it, with content coming out for games such as Fallout 3. That DLC was just awesome, and I could understand it for that game. New Vegas, I could still understand it. Fallout 4, not really. And then Mass Effect Andromeda doesn't get DLC, which I personally think is okay, but Andromeda had its own other problems as well. And that's where my other part is. The game quality has just gone down so much. Now they just think content is king. Content is not king anymore, it's quality. Quality of games is what makes these games awesome. Games like Witcher 3, their quality in that game with all the little side quests and main quests that you do, everything had like a story to it. Now we get games like Dragon Age Inquisition, which is an okay game, but when you have these fetch quests like you're in an MMO to go get blankets, that's just ridiculous, and that's everywhere in Inquisition. And then we get to Mass Effect Andromeda. Again, we're doing some more fetch quests that you just don't even remember. You don't remember anything from those quests. The only one I remember from Andromeda was tracking down this sick woman that had this infectious disease that could infect everybody and just cause massive damage to the colony. And that was memorable. That was exciting. I felt like I needed to do something to save these people. Getting blankets for a forgettable person, going around just scanning things in Andromeda, that's not memorable. That's not quality. That's just them throwing in content just to say they have so much content in these games. And that's not what gaming used to be. Gaming used to be, at least RPGs wise, gaming used to be games like KOTOR, KOTOR 2, Persona 4, Final Fantasy X, even though a lot of people didn't like Final Fantasy X, so I'll say Final Fantasy 7, Final Fantasy 8, Final Fantasy 9, old FPS games like Call of Duty 4, Call of Duty Modern Warfare, before those started getting microtransactions. It's just a sad state of what gaming has turned into, that now these publishers charging us upwards of $100 if we want to make sure that we have all the content so we don't get left behind of other people, and then adding microtransactions so other people can pay and get these awesome cool things while other people have to grind and hope that they get it, or they can also pony up to give them more money. It's money driven now, and it's sad. I miss the days of, heck, even Fallout 3 with them having DLC. I know I keep going to Fallout 3, but I can also say Mass Effect 2. There are just so many past games games, even old racing games, they didn't have microtransactions in it. Especially old games like Forza, Midnight Club, Need for Speed, the old Need for Speeds. Need for Speed Underground 2, that was my favorite racing game for the longest time. They didn't have these microtransactions in them. They didn't need to be always online like how the new Gran Turismo is now, or other games that need to be online such as the new Mordor Shadow of War. These games didn't need to be online to work, and it's sad how gaming is right now. I don't know, that's my opinion. Tell me what you guys think down below. I miss the old gaming. I hate how gaming is now. I wish they'd bring Mega Man Battle Network back. If you couldn't tell, I love that series. I call you guys net battlers. I miss it when developers and publishers would take risks on these games and not have all these microtransactions on top of season passes, on top of DLC, and DLC that's not even included in the original season passes. Gaming is ridiculous now, and I feel like right now Nintendo is the only place to go if you're an old school real gamer. Sure, they do season passes right now and they do DLC, but as of at this moment, they're not putting these predatory microtransactions and loot boxes in their games, as far as I know. I can't speak for every Nintendo game because I haven't played them all and such, but as far as I know, they're not putting these microtransactions and loot boxes and season passes and DLCs that are not included with the season pass that you have to buy after the season pass and give them more money. I feel like Nintendo is the place to go right now. I'm done buying AAA games from other developers. If they have microtransaction in it, I'm not buying them anymore. I'm done. I can't do it. I'll keep playing my old games. I got my Vita. I'll play Persona 4 over and over. I'll play Final Fantasy X over and over. I'll play the old Pokemons. I'll play the new Pokemons until they start getting microtransactions. I really hope they never do. I think the only way these developers and publishers are going to listen is if we don't buy these games, and especially not buy these microtransactions and loot boxes. But sadly, with the sales of Shadow of War, it doesn't look like this is going to stop, especially with what Activision is going through now with their patent to have us help them sell microtransactions. Gaming makes me sick nowadays. I don't know about you. Tell me what you think down below. How do you feel about gaming? Do you remember what older gaming was like back in the PS1, PS2, Xbox 360 days, Game Boy Advance days? There was no DLC, and if there was, it was actually good DLC like in Fallout 3, not crappy DLC like in Fallout 4. But I think the DLC in Fallout 4 is crappy. I don't know about you guys. I didn't think it was worth the $30 or $40, whatever it was the new season pass was worth if you didn't get it in the beginning. Anyways, like I said, tell me what you think down below. If you agree, disagree, tell me why. Maybe we can have a discussion, an open discussion about it. And I'll see you later. Thanks for watching. Like, comment, subscribe, share this video. Time to jack out, net battlers.